Alrighty.
Alright.
Here we go.
We're back.
We're back. What a fucking another week it is. Another week of restrictions.
Another week in paradise.
Another week in paradise. We're in one of the most strictest countries in the world. Oh Lord.
Lucky country, eh?
Lucky
country,
bro. Fucking slave colony. So we still fucking on to the British. Oh, fucking hell. Is anyone watching it? No,
just one person, which is me.
Just you. Oh, sure, we'll give it a bit of time. But what are we going to talk about this week? We're going to talk about...
Let's go away from coronavirus. Let's go away from viruses and go intergalactic.
Let's go into space, bro. Let's cover UFOs,
go cosmic.
bro. Let's cover UFOs and aliens. One of my favourite topics.
UFOs and aliens. So, I'm not an alien buff like you.
Yeah, I'm fucking obsessed with this shit.
You're obsessed with aliens, but let's go into Roswell, which is probably the most renowned alien story there is, right?
Yes. So let's start with where it all began. So the whole UFO phenomenon, essentially the modern one, started from Roswell in 1947, April or something, where essentially there was a crash in the middle of the forest. A whole bunch of rangers investigated it, found a flying disc, a UFO, with two dead alien bodies, two dead bodies that were described. There's photos. Did you see the photos of it?
I saw photos. I didn't see any photos of the dead bodies, but there was photos of the foil, of the material of the flying object, or the object that was found. Yes. It was a very, apparently there was a farmer, there was a ranger, or someone that found it first. Yes. And then he went to the sheriff's office, and then the sheriff told them to go to the local news thing or whatever, and then that's where the army got involved and all that to inspect the object. I think the fire brigade also got involved. So there's actually testimonials of people, seeing the objects and describing it and how little they knew about it. Apparently it was a very, very mysterious object. Yes. Because it felt very unlike anything that they've been used to, the materials.
Yes. And didn't know from memory, was it Roswell where it curled up and then curled out? Was that correct?
Curled up and curled
down. Yeah, what was going on. But essentially,
the material. Yeah. Yeah, so apparently it was a material where you could scrunch it up and then it would just open back up again. It was very strange.
Okay. Yeah, it was very strange material. Yeah. And then the front page news said it was a flying saucer that crashed.
Yes.
And then the day after, the military came and said it was a weather balloon and took all the evidence.
Well, the army said it was a flying object, right?
Yes.
Didn't they? And then they went back a couple of days later and said, it was a weather balloon.
Yes.
And then the whole story just stalled for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Until the 1970s.
Yes.
And I think new evidence came up saying that it was a cover-up.
Yes, it was a cover-up. Because it wasn't a weather balloon. How the fuck does a weather balloon create a flying disc?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. It was on the front page of the news. There are pictures and reports.
But didn't they say it was a cover-up because of the Cold War? Yeah, Cold War? Because of the Russians, right? Because they were developing technology against the Russians to detect certain... something, I don't know, to detect a bomb or detect something.
Yes, so that was essentially the story. And it was like... People it wasn't a weather balloon. That's the dumbest thing out of my fucking life. And then it doesn't make any sense. But what do you call it? So what the theories are is obviously it was Russian technology, and that the dead bodies were just genetic engineering that the Russians were developing on, or aliens. And then because after that's when the whole UFO phenomenon became a thing within Hollywood and movies, and also just UFO sightings around the world. But UFO sighting doesn't obviously correlate to aliens. It just correlates to an identified flying object. And they've been around throughout history as well. You look at a lot of icons as well have pictures of flying discs. A lot of Aboriginal art as well has pictures of flying discs, and just art throughout history has pictures of these weird flying discs, which no one knows no one has any explanation for it. And also with the grey alien body with the big head and the big black eyes, that's also prevalent throughout history through different paintings and shit. And then especially through icons through the Byzantine period, which is fucking bizarre. And no one knows what they are. Are they angels or are they actual aliens? It's fucking weird shit. And then so no one knows whether it's UFOs or aliens. Just that specific evidence with the weather balloon cover-up, and then there's plenty more. There's the Phoenix lights. There's obviously the Westfall UFO incident in Victoria. That one's fucking hectic. So that one's in Westfall, Victoria. I think it's 1966, where a UFO landed on like a junior school playground, and then like all the kids, everyone was freaking out. I think they had like all the kids were like an hour before all acting all weird and having like headaches. And then when the UFO landed, everyone was like, what the fuck? And they took pictures of it. But then the ASAO came a day later and said that it never happened. Give us the photos and like don't worry about it. Like just don't try not to talk about it too much. But then like there's a documentary on it where all these teachers are like, we don't know what ever happened. There's no official explanation from the government. Just don't talk about it. Shut the fuck up. You know, it never happened. You're lying. But the whole entire school saw it, and there were photos that are maybe taken away from the ASIO, which is bizarre. Like no one knows what's going on. So whether it's aliens or like military technology, that's a $1 million question. But UFOs do exist, bro.
Yeah, they exist,
Yeah,
and
they
we
exist,
can't
they?
we can't dispute that. The question is, what are they? Where did they come from? That's the mystery behind it, right? And you got to think. So take the Roswell incident for instance. If you're a farmer and you see something out of this world, like something you've never seen before, it could be military equipment, because we all know that the military uses science and all that. Sorry, I got a timer. It uses science. It's at the forefront of science, right? So it's going to be more likely to develop technologies that we civilians have never seen before. So the likelihood of even someone like a farmer uses very rudimentary technology to go about their work, right? So for a farmer to see something extraordinarily rare, it's quite likely. Right? And when I read up about what Roswell, I mean, I only saw one documentary. The feeling I got from it was, I mean, these farmers like had no idea what they were seeing, and I don't blame them. Like, if the military dropped some random technology that were testing, like Batman, where it was prototyping all those new weapons, you wouldn't know what the fuck that is, right?
Yeah, true.
And it seems as though Roswell's become a city or a town or an area where it's like culturally all about aliens. They're cashing in, man.
Of course they're cashing in. Why wouldn't you? They do the UFO convention like every year, where people see, but people do still see UFOs. Like it's a thing to see a UFO in the sky. Like people do record it, like they're there. And then where it gets really interesting, bro, is alien abduction theories. This is where it gets hectic. So we're like, people say they're abducted by aliens. Now whether
that's okay. Now
so,
we're heading another level.
Yeah, there's another level. But things with alien abductions, they all tell the same story and they describe the same being. Now from my like research for years, like reading about this shit, it's either aliens exist and they're abducting people, and it's this particular species of aliens that are taking people and probing them, or B, it's just military. It's like it's MK Ultra, essentially. So it could be just MK, because a lot of
they're just hallucinating. You mean they're experimenting on them with drugs or something?
Because a lot of them did come from the 60s and 70s where MK Ultra was occurring. But these MK Ultra, I don't think you said is MK Ultra that's never had like a direct cease operation. I don't remember.
What do you mean?
I don't think MK Ultra has ever like been like stopped. If that makes any sense.
Right.
I don't think the government ever said we'll stop doing it. So
they've declassified information about.
They got
but
sued.
that doesn't necessarily mean they've stopped it.
Yes, I don't think so. I don't know specifically, but
or maybe it's not called that.
Yeah,
maybe it's just called something.
Yes,
else.
so it could be just they're just experimenting. Government just keeps experimenting with people on drugs, and they say aliens and shit. I mean, that's what Call of Duty Black Ops is about.
Well, isn't that where biological warfare and experimentation into viruses and all that comes into it?
Yes, definitely. That's why it's not like
you need people or you need something to test it on. Otherwise, what is it? It's just a theory.
Yes, so the US tested it on their own citizens, which is really interesting. But what do you call it? Yeah, that's where a lot of things alien abductions come from. But I don't know, man. Alien abduction stories are scary. They scare the shit out of me, bro. Because a lot of it is people that disappear for a couple of days and they come back. They wake up with like chips in their neck with barcodes on them. Some of them predict the future. It's fucking weird shit, man. Some of them get abducted multiple times. Like, I don't know. Are they lying? Are they saying the truth?
The problem with these stories is it's so hard to prove because it's a personal experience. Like an abduction. Okay, UFOs to one side. An abduction, if that were to occur by an alien, it's a personal experience. It can be construed as a hallucination. You can't prove it to someone.
You can't prove it. Yeah, that's
how?
very true.
No matter how vividly you describe it, it's just it's impossible.
It's impossible to prove. It's impossible. That is very true. Even if you do have evidence, you can just say the evidence was faked.
Yeah.
But then we get into Bob Lazar, bro. Did you read about Bob Lazar?
No.
Okay, Bob Lazar was like a not CIA. He worked for Area 51, the secret technology place.
Right.
You watch Joe Rogan. This is Joe Rogan episode. It's fucking scary. Where essentially he predicted the last element that was discovered.
Oh, right.
Can't remember what was the last element. You know it.
No.
Whatever the last element was.
Wait, is it iridium?
I think it was iridium. That rings a bell.
Wait. I heard something about there was an element that was found in a skull.
Yeah.
Or something, and that element had to have come from a different planet or something. Have you heard about that one?
Fuck no.
Yeah. I think there was a metal or something, an element discovered in a skull, and the only possibility for it to have occurred was to come from another planet or something. Yeah, something like that.
You sure?
It does not come from. It could not have come from Earth because Earth does not contain that.
And is it on the elemental table?
Yeah.
Okay, then it might have been that one.
It probably is that one. Yeah.
He probably is that one because then he predicted it, and people were just calling him crazy. And then I don't know. I can't remember why exactly he was leaking all this information, but he said that a lot of the technology that Area 51 uses that they do there is obviously they reverse engineer technology that's not of this Earth. And he saw shit like flying saucers and things hovering in the air, things that just didn't make any sense. And he has. I think he's got like papers. He's an engineer, I think, from memory. He's got papers that describe it all. It didn't make any sense to me, but I think you're more making. But yeah, the Bob Lazar one, fucking weird. And then it gets even weirder where you look at what's happening now, especially in the US with all this declassification of the UFO files.
Yeah.
That's getting weird. Where it's either like they're preparing us for the existence of extraterrestrials, or they're just declassifying UFOs. Which is
but I wonder when they declassify information. Surely they're very cautious about.
Of course they are.
Like surely there's a possibility they purposefully manipulate what's being declassified.
Yeah, of course it would be.
So even if it's declassified, that doesn't guarantee anything.
It doesn't guarantee fucking shit. So you don't really ever know what the fuck the truth is. But the truth is that UFOs do exist. I believe there are aliens out there, bro. I believe that these alien beings. This is where down to the Majestic 12 theory, where essentially after Roswell, it was like the first encounter of the first leakage of like aliens visiting the planet. And aliens have always visited the planet. And what these aliens have done, called them reptilian overlords or whatever, they've made deals with like the powers that be or the world government. Once they discovered that we had nuclear weapons, and they said that okay, we'll give you technology, which you can reverse engineer. If you let us abduct a certain amount of people every single year. And that's a Majestic 12 theory. Because there was a leaked document, and you can look at the document online, that's like signed by, I think, Richard Nixon, or whatever the fuck the president was at the time, agreeing to this. And that these extraterrestrial beings are out there, and we've made a deal with them to like essentially promise no nuclear war if they give us technology.
Fuck.
That's like a conspiracy theory, bro. And that's a hectic fucking theory, the Majestic 12. And Majestic 12 is like the secret leaders who know all these theories. Yeah, that's a Majestic 12 theory.
What evidence is there that there was a deal?
One leaked document and a whole bunch of like politicians who have mysteriously disappeared and died.
Right, okay. One leaked document, what did it say?
That there's a written contract. Like we give them like...
How do you make a deal with an alien? Sorry, what are they communicating? Sorry, let's think this logically. Are we assuming the aliens know English because they've observed? Okay.
That's fine.
So we're assuming aliens are gods.
Whoa!
Some kind.
Have you heard the Betty and Barney Hill incident? I'm thinking of. Yeah. It's where there was this famous case of like contact with an alien, and that apparently when this bloke saw this alien was like a box, and he talked to him and like commanded him, but like through just like quantum energy essentially. It's fucking vibrations. Through vibrations and shit. That's another fucking weird one. But that's also in Zimbabwe. There was another school landing with the aliens, and they saw the aliens, and they gave them things. I think maybe that was I can't remember. I was reading about it years ago. But I don't know. But with the aliens, back to Majestic 12, yeah, that's the theory that they control the world. Essentially, that came about in the 50s. And then there's been like random politicians who like do like a rant in public or like a rant in Parliament and end up dying afterwards. whether they just do it for like the lols or not. Like there's the Israeli defense, the ex-Israeli defense minister who talks about we're part of the Galactic Federation, that we're part of like one sect of like these alien overlords that look over us and shit. But yeah, you can look up the ex-Israeli defense minister talks about Majestic 12 and how it's not a conspiracy.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think he's dead now.
Yeah, I know, but who killed him?
I don't know, bro.
The aliens?
I don't know, bro. But
or the elites?
Yeah, or the elites, man. But UFOs do exist. I reckon they're preparing us, bro, for the evidence that extraterrestrials do exist. I reckon we'll see them in our lifetime. I reckon we will see them in our lifetime. And I reckon this is what all this COVID shit they're preparing us for. I reckon they're preparing us for something.
But it's pretty... It's quite incredible how technology has progressed in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
When you think about it, flight was discovered late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, it was, hey.
So we flew in the early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
And then we went to the moon in 1969, right?
1100 years ago.
Yeah. Well, they put a man on the moon there, but actually,
Yeah.
I think the Russians went to space earlier.
Yeah, 1963.
Yeah.
They sent a dog to
Yeah,
space.
they sent a dog. Yeah. So it only took 60 years from the period that we managed to fly to the point where you could go get out of space.
They've thought of it that way.
Isn't that incredible?
They've thought of it that way. Yeah, we went from like Amelia Earhart to Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, the Wright brothers.
Yeah,
the Wright brothers in who managed to sustain flight to breaking the gravitational forces that keep you within the atmosphere of planet Earth.
Okay. And then
that's incredible.
This phone that we're using is like 10 times more powerful than what the rocket was that took them to the moon.
Of course.
Wait a minute. This is where we go to the moon landing was a hoax theory. Because if you're telling me that these three people, your phone, my phone, and my iPad, possesses enough computing power to take us both to the moon and back, what the fuck? That sounds like bullshit to me, bro.
That sounds like what?
Bullshit.
Very bullshit.
How the fuck can your phone possess the power to take you to the moon? Your fucking phone.
Not the power, not the thrust, obviously.
Okay, not the thrust, obviously.
But the computational.
Yeah, you get that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
There's a difference.
Yeah, no, just fucking yeah. But what do you call it? Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's why. No, I reckon.
How did that happen?
Well, people say with Majestic 12, alien technology. All this shit is alien technology. That's one theory. That all this shit we can't understand it, so it's alien technology.
Yeah, that's what intrigues me. Was it just a discovery? Was it the discovery of electricity that was like a domino that fell, a very significant domino that fell?
Yeah.
Or is it something?
Or is it aliens? Or it could be.
Or is it something?
Yeah, it could be.
Else that we're just missing, right? Think about it.
Well, who discovered the rocket? Was it the Nazis who discovered the rocket? Because Nazis had rockets. NASA was founded by Nazis.
No.
Right, then, so Operation Paperclip was obviously after World War II, the Americans took all the Nazi scientists and they just employed them and created NASA.
Yeah.
Right, so obviously the Nazis knew something. The Nazis not because of the occult, because they were obsessed with the fucking we'll talk about last week, the occult, Luciferians and simple. They were all fucking obsessed with that shit.
Yeah.
Is it because they summoned Satan? And Satan was like, "Hey, bro," or is that aliens, bro?
Or is Satan just alien?
Oh no, are these demonic forces that we saw? Oh no, bro, you're fucking now you're losing me. But yeah.
But do you get my point?
Yeah, I get your point.
The period of progress.
Yes.
Progress is unfathomable. It's never happened.
I know
it's never happened in humanity.
I know it's never happened. So, I don't know. Are the aliens in here to like put us in line, or are they here to help us?
Yeah.
We'll never know. And the thing is, all these UFO sightings have increased throughout, if you look at because we can also record them obviously through our phones, and we're not, and they exist, and we don't know what they are. And if
Well, I mean, a few factors and reasons contribute to that. One, we're more aware of them,
Yeah,
of
we
their
are.
existence.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Two, we have a greater capacity to detect them via
Yes.
phones,
Yes.
via Facebook.
Yeah, we
you've got
report
someone's
them.
posted. So the proliferation of detecting them is much higher.
Mhm.
And three, as we've said, technology has advanced so rapidly.
Mhm.
So the ability to put objects into space
Mhm.
is a lot greater.
Yes.
There are so many satellites now.
Yes.
And it's just increasing.
Yes.
Have you heard of what Elon Musk is proposing
What's he proposing?
with the internet?
What?
Eventually, we're going to have a satellite form of internet. Like, the
Okay.
internet will essentially be via satellites, like a GPS.
Well, that'll be a lot better.
Yeah.
That means it'll be like no connection.
No Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
no. There's a node here. It's basically if your device can communicate with a satellite, which is most of the time quite feasible, right? Then you've got internet.
That's very smart, actually.
Yeah.
That's actually really, really good.
And a satellite, as all it needs to do is maintain an orbit, and thanks to
Okay.
the Earth's gravitational pull, as long as it travels at a certain speed and is a certain distance away from the Earth, it's just going to orbit.
Okay, that'll be the future. Then
Yeah.
we'll be a constantly connected society, no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's technology. I mean, Elon Musk is some fucking scary shit, bro. With Neuralink, that just
Yeah.
scares me. That's the microchips in the brain.
Mm.
Well, that's what the news article essentially what they're doing with COVID. They're trying to microchips are helping people detect COVID.
Cyborgs.
Yeah, cyborgs.
So-
Yeah, we're becoming cyborgs essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, like the concept of a cyborg and a transhuman individual. That's not like that's
Okay,
not.
what's a cyborg?
This is a really good question, actually. So, would you rather lose your phone or your hand if you're stuck in a dark place, bro?
That's where I was going to get at.
Yeah, bro. You'd rather lose.
I was waiting for your definition of what a cyborg is, and then I was going to say, isn't that what we already
Yeah,
know?
we already are. I reckon we reached the point where
We're a disconnected type of cyborg.
we're disconnected.
Physically disconnected.
Well, you do have the option to get chips in you at the moment, anyway, and you could say like smartwatches are essentially like an attachment, like in Deus Ex, because the smartwatch you can record with it, you can do anything with it actually. You can you can request a ride halfway across the country through your phone.
Yeah.
Fucking mental. But what do you call it? Yeah, so I reckon all of this technology comes from aliens and comes from UFOs. It all because it's bizarre that all this shit stems back to Roswell. A lot of this stuff can stem back to Roswell.
What stuff? Aliens.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
rapid, time of peace and capitalism and progress stems from post World War II Roswell. Because World War One happened. You think about even the jump from World War One to World War Two. Like World War One, we would have been dead. Would have been in a trench, firing a rifle,
Yeah.
shooting the Turks. Well, fucking what? And then 30 years later, we're killing Nazis and Japanese and Russians. Then the Russians sided with us. And then that very concept in itself is unfathomable to us.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was just normal, like everyone had to do it. Like conscription was normal. Now this doesn't exist anymore. Even like the Vietnam War, and that's fucking scary. But that shit doesn't exist anymore because we've progressed so far with technology.
So what doesn't exist anymore?
Like the concept of a young man going to war within the most of the world.
Oh, in the Western world,
Yeah.
you're saying, yeah, because in the Middle Eastern world,
Yeah, well, the
it's
Middle East,
different,
yeah,
yeah.
it's different. Same with obviously the African world as
African
well.
areas in Africa, yeah.
Yeah, African
sure.
and Middle Eastern world is very different. But most of the Western world, even in the East Asian world, in the Asian world as well, like Chinese people don't go to war.
Mm.
Like, there's no military.
In that aspect, we're relatively peaceful,
Yes.
for sure. But there's new issues.
Yeah, there's new issues now.
We're anxious.
Yes.
We're depressed. We're
Yes.
attached to technology.
Yes.
We're greedy. We're ultra competitive.
Well, this
So
is
there's different issues, right?
this is
Yeah.
where we're going to Project Bluebeam. If you had did you go down the rabbit hole Project Bluebeam?
No.
These are some fucking trippy theories.
Alright, let's do
So
it.
Project Bluebeam is essentially was what people say is happening now. So Project Bluebeam, I can't remember the evidence for this. This is very mild It's one of those trippy fucking conspiracies. I love it. But basically, Project Bluebeam is a theory that all this time of talking about UFOs and declassifying UFOs and Blink-182 discovering UFOs and all this like normalization of talk about aliens and UFOs is leading to a fake alien invasion. Okay, so hear me out. So corona, technology, anything that's disrupting the progress of the human race is eventually going to lead us into decay and fighting within ourselves. The corona is very good at doing that. There's going to be a police state. This is like the second step of Project Bluebeam, and an enforcement of this police state by an external threat, which is happening now, COVID. And eventually, we're going to be so divided because the government's going to be against us. We're going to be against our own very people for a threat that doesn't exist. There's going to be a fake alien invasion.
That's 1984.
Yes, but to get out of this, what's going to happen is we're going to get the existence of extraterrestrials will be declassified and they will invade us. So it'll be a fake alien invasion called Project Bluebeam.
Right.
And then we have to unite as humanity to take down these fake aliens.
Right.
And then afterwards they establish.
So what you're saying? So are you saying the infatuation with aliens is actually government fabricated by the government for the purpose of intriguing its population and therefore potentially using it against them by faking an invasion?
Yes. And
because it's so mysterious to people, they don't understand it. They want to see it, and if they see it, they'll believe it. So if the government's just brewing this curiosity and this mystery among people, and then one day they can use it against them.
Yep.
Right. And the government will just pretend like they've never seen them.
Yep.
Like, that's smart. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And then they'll eventually we'll be united as a human species.
It's like we must defeat the aliens.
Yes, we must defeat the aliens.
We must do everything possible to.
And then we defeat them, and then they establish a new world order to protect us from the aliens forever again.
So okay.
That's a project.
Okay. Could that be what COVID is?
Yeah, that's one theory. That's a really trippy theory, but that's one theory that COVID is for preparation for Project Bluebeam.
Maybe, okay, if it wasn't intentional,
yes.
If it wasn't intentional, because that wouldn't be the case if the virus actually started from China, then that theory is not necessarily applicable to COVID, because it originated from China. It originated from an institute of virology.
Yes.
So the government, the elites didn't plan that. It just, the Chinese let it go.
Yes.
Right? Or you could construe it as it's an opportunity to apply that theory.
Yes.
But someone else has started a theory.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a great opportunity. It's opportunistic to have that.
You could argue that. Yeah, you could definitely argue that. Or this is.
It's like, oh fuck, China's done it for us. Great, let's actually roll out what we wanted to.
Yeah, maybe this is the rollout. Well, then this goes into the Great Reset.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole concept of the Great Reset. The Great Reset was around before COVID. Like, this shit isn't new. And so maybe COVID is just the agenda to create the Great Reset. Because the Great Reset is fucking scary. That shit scares me, bro.
But it is scary, but the fact that COVID's still happening after a year and a half, and everyone's suffering, it's affecting everyone, right? It's everyone. Everyone's affected by it. That greatly supports the need for a Great Reset, according to those who, right? Yeah,
definitely. This COVID shit's being used to create a new world order.
Yeah.
That's the whole. Yeah. So maybe Project Bluebeam is real. Fuck.
Yeah. Have you ever thought it's already happening? Because it makes sense. It's like this is a global event, a pandemic. So what we need is a global effort. We all need to get together. We all need to.
Remind me, what's a Great Reset exactly from memory? From the way I understand, it's the new world order. One world currency. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think someone. Have you heard of you will not own anything?
Yeah,
you'll be happy.
You'll be happy you won't.
Didn't they retract that?
Did they?
Yeah. I don't know if it's true, but I believe there was some talk about the concept of ownership will cease.
Yeah, so the concept of ownership will cease, and there will be because we're a sharing economy.
Yeah.
And so that's what
it sounds like it's going to be this pseudo-communistic regime, right?
But it's not. It's just wealth transfer. I mean,
Yeah.
right in the past 2 years, we've seen the greatest wealth transfer in time of human history.
Yeah.
Like the rich have gotten richer of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Like the amount of rich versus poor, that divide has increased by
Yeah.
more time than human history because of this disease.
It's exacerbated.
Yeah,
for sure.
like 2 months before COVID actually happens, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
And the CEO exodus of October the something,
Yeah.
where like 40 something CEOs stepped down just on the same week.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because the classes and masses of people
Yes.
who had the opportunity to break out of
Yes.
the lower classes
Yes.
have now been robbed of that
Exactly.
because of the lockdowns and everything.
Yes.
So they stay where they're suppressed
Yes.
to where they are, and the richer obviously have, because of their wealth, have more opportunities to grow their wealth in
And
other
own
ways.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like they're accepting the fact that there will be this classified,
Yeah.
and you're not going to own anything. I mean, that's my theory of like stuff like Uber and Netflix is.
Mm.
You don't own Netflix. You don't own your music. Record label owns you as a musician, and you stream your music. There's no more. There's no more physical things. Everything's
Yeah.
digital online.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so against digital passports and the concept of like a digital, fucking everything going purely digital, because there's no proof of it, physical proof of it, and
Yeah.
you can. It's like Wikipedia.
So
you can edit it.
I can definitely. I mean, this trend's already been
Yeah,
happening.
it's
right?
already happening. You can't stop it.
And yeah, it seems as though the Great Reset will greatly affect the concept of ownership. What
Yes.
it means to own something,
Yes.
I feel eventually will be very different. It will
Yes.
transform into something
Yes.
that we've probably never experienced.
Yes. Yeah, which is not good. I mean, what's scary, if you go to even trippier, bro, have you read the theories that the vaccine is turns you into a product, into an experiment, that you no longer own your DNA? It's a trippy as fuck theory. I think it's a bit bullshit. But if we can go back to what we were saying last year actually about this stuff, how remember we were reading
What were we saying last?
about the Microsoft patents that we found, the 66 patent and the microchip patent.
Yeah.
Bro, that's real. It's becoming a thing now.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the digital passports, we did. Remember, ID 2020.
Yeah.
Bro,
That's real.
it's real now.
Yeah.
It's real. It's not like a conspiracy
rolled
theory.
out, yeah.
It's being rolled out. And then the other thing was that there was they're experimenting with the
But
microchips.
not in chip form, in like an online
Yes.
avatar.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah. Only yes. Well, that's real now. And then the next thing, there was a body chip. The body chip that allows you to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
And that has a patent 666 in the code.
Yeah.
That's
You know, people have been experimenting with that.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
that's been
Like
around.
they've got like credit cards, Opal cards, like they've got
Yes.
surgery.
Yeah,
and-
those are the open
yeah.
card. Those
Yeah.
are those in Australia. UTS. That's nothing new.
Yeah.
But bro, that's scary. But then again, is all this shit alien technology?
So what? And also like trans people as well.
Yeah.
Tattoos. Like think of all the trends that we're seeing. The trends that we're seeing is that people are mutilating, they're manipulating their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
They're actively doing it.
Well, tattoos have been around for thousands of years, man.
I know, but have you ever seen this many tattoos?
Well, I don't
Normally it was a traditional thing, right?
to
It
be
was like
fair, I don't pay
Polynesian.
attention. Yeah, true. Yeah, it was a Polynesian thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah, now it's become cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got a fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And see, well, the trans thing is that's a whole other issue. They were going down to the downfall of Western civilization.
But
Yeah.
don't you see, like, I mean, you go on Instagram, you walk around, people are changing their bodies
Mhm.
in all sorts of ways.
Yes. Of course they are. Yeah, true. And
Extreme, like sometimes extreme bodybuilding, anorexia,
Mhm.
tattoos, transgender, they're cutting off limbs, they're putting chips in themselves. We're doing that to ourselves, aren't we?
Yes. What's your point?
I was saying that's a trend.
Yeah, I
Isn't
know.
that a trend?
It is a trend, yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is eventually the concept of a chip or whatever may
Will be
not be
normal.
that foreign.
Of course it won't be. Like, imagine, like, 20 years ago, we had the old Nokia phones, right?
Yeah.
Now, 20 years later, we're doing, we're doing this. Like, this concept did not exist. If you told me 20 years ago, like, 20 years ago, what? It was year 2000. I was here with my uncle, like, watching WWF wrestling
Yeah.
on a barbecue.
Yeah.
Remember, we were playing my Nokia phone. It's
Yeah.
only 20 years we'll be here recording a thing called a podcast
Yeah.
on a thing called an iPad with a
Second
thing called
out of it, which is
two
strange.
smartphones
Yeah.
using the internet at ultra HD 4K video. Get the fuck out of me! Like if you tell me 20 years later from now we could get like live holograms,
Yeah.
and they'll be right in front of us. And that's very probable. Like, fuck. We don't know. It's beyond like our realm of like understanding.
Mm.
That's why I think it's aliens. And then that's Project Bluebeam, bro. That all this shit is maybe COVID is Project Bluebeam. Fuck. That's fucking scary. That means the only thing we do need something to unite. Like, we are more divided than ever now, because of our own beliefs. Like everything, like the vaccine is dividing us.
And we were discussing yesterday about to be happy or to get through something you need to suffer.
Yes.
That's something a lot of people believe. That could be used against you.
Yeah, it definitely
We're suffering through COVID. We need COVID
Yeah.
to get together and live happily ever after. That's what I mean, man. Like, I had to correct you because it's sometimes dangerous to think about it.
That is dangerous.
I mean, it can be true.
Yes.
It can be true.
Yes.
But it can be dangerous as well, I feel.
Yes. Because people
Because that can be used against you.
Yes, because people are taking the vaccine now because they can get a lockdown.
Mm.
But then if you look at Israel, that's what Israel did. The disease kept spreading, and then they're still in lockdown. Everyone's vaccinated, so it doesn't
Yeah,
do anything. There's no way out of this.
Mm.
So we need a fake alien invasion. Fuck. That or what we're trying to. But
Look, man,
vaccines are fine. It's just making them mandatory and pushing them so hard is very strange.
yeah, it's very strange. That's never occurred.
Vaccines are fine. I mean, medicine's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah,
right?
vaccines are
Fine, but-
awesome.
Why they're getting pushed so hard?
And why they haven't been pushed before?
I saw an article someone posted. Microsoft employees are required to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I was read about that too, yeah. What's going to happen inevitably? They're going to make everyone... They'll make it... Well, they have to change it. I think Australian government has to change a few things in, like, the laws to make it mandatory. Because right now you can't make it mandatory. But I think it pisses me off. My main argument is, I don't think it's vaccines. It's just, why the fuck didn't you make the meningococcal vaccine mandatory? Why don't you make the measles vaccine mandatory? Why don't you... Where did this all occur? With every other fucking law...
Well, be careful what you wish for.
Wishful,
Be careful what you wish for, because that will end up happening.
yeah.
Because a lot of people I hear who are against the mandating of vaccines say, "Oh, smoking kills, this kills, that kills.
Yes.
Why aren't we doing anything about that?" Don't fucking give them ideas. Because guess what? Guess what they're going to be banning next? Cigarettes.
Well, cigarettes are already out of the way. Cigarettes are gone.
So, it's probably about to happen. Think about it. Be careful what you wish for, because it's probably going to happen.
Australia,
It's probably going to happen.
knowing this country, will be 100% the first to have like plain packaging alcohol. I guarantee you.
We're probably going to be living in this very sterile,
Yeah, sterile, plain packaging.
manufactured,
that shit.
fabricated.
Where we own nothing.
Yeah.
That's the Great Reset. Fucking hell. Because tobacco already, they get rid of to get a vape, you have to go to the doctor now.
Yeah.
And then cigarettes, they'll ban cigarettes. They'll just ban it. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then
And yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. But at the same time, playing devil's advocate here, right? I can understand the motives behind something like a Great Reset, though. Kind of understand it.
because we need it.
Because not that we need that specific way of doing it, but man, the world's still in turmoil. Like, let's be honest. It's been like this for a while.
Yes.
What the fuck are we going to do? It's just a theory that it's like, fuck, the world's in such turmoil, we need a reset button. Why else would someone think of that? Right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Isn't it kind of justified?
It is justified. Because
In a very absolute
yeah,
way,
because
right?
because of pollution and
Well, let's play devil's advocate here.
if we were the powers that be, if we were the Illuminati.
Alright, Themistocles
False.
is the elite of the world,
Yeah.
and you saw what's happening around you. You probably think to yourself, "Fuck, how do we fix this? We need a reset."
Yeah, there's some bullshit. Well, society resets every couple of 300 to 400 years anyway. I mean, that's...
Okay, only to cycle back into the same or similar problems it had before,
Yeah.
just in a different way,
Wow.
or
Yes.
just in a different way.
Yeah,
But
that's
cosmetically,
that's what World War One.
superficially,
Yeah,
it's
that's what World War One was.
Yeah.
It was like a reset. And World War Two was as well.
Yeah.
A reset of Europe
Mm.
and the whole restructure of power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
superficially it's
Yeah.
different,
yeah, because we said war. War was our
but
reset.
fundamentally it's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is like a new war.
Yeah.
It's like a pussy version of war. Bro, I'd rather just go to war.
Hmm?
I don't want to do this shit. I'd rather go to war. I just have fun. Like fucking shoot some rebels. Like this is fucking interesting. Okay, so
That's what they want you to
yeah,
think.
I'm gonna think, bro. Fucking hell. Alright, so in some UFOs exist, it's not a conspiracy.
Yeah, we went on a few
We
tangents.
were on a tangent, but yeah, Roswell 1947 is a hectic one. Where obviously in Australia, there's plenty other cases in Australia as well. But yeah, the Westfall Incident, no one knows what the ASIO is hiding.
Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck they're hiding? We'll never know. But yeah, COVID could be Project Bluebeam. COVID could be Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam being the fake alien invasion that's going to unite humanity and then allow the powers that be to instill a new world government. That's what COVID could possibly be, because aliens have been here and been controlling the world since God knows when.
Okay.
That's about
Yeah,
it.
I'm speechless. I've got nothing else to say. I'm just like, okay, fine.
Yeah, bro.
Alright, see you next week.
See you next week.